What strikes me about this amazing project is the kind of amount of original thinking that you had to do. You talked, I mean, also it's beautiful seeing that drawing of the process of distilling the whiskey, and that does seem to have really had an impact on the final form. But you talked about Mayan architecture, you talked about the kind of earthworks and the bodegas, which I think the practice has already built. Bodegas, were there other references you could use with this kind of, the project seems so original. Was there anything else that you could kind of reference and look at to help you?
I think there's been, I mean, no project, of course, is truly original in some senses.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no, at one level, there's that expression of, there's no such thing as a new idea. And I think everything is building on previous experience, certainly from ideas that may or may not have come to full fruition previously, that maybe a new project gives the opportunity to develop and try things again, perhaps.
Yeah.
And I think, hopefully, there's a certain truth to what we were saying earlier. I think it was, the concept did merge and come out of, an understanding of the way in which whiskey is produced, the way in which that process diagram works, reorganising it critically, I think, reorganising it because the brief required it to be a phasable scheme. We had to have X million litres of whiskey so we knew from the very good briefing that we had that in order to create X million litres that requires so many of this type of vessel, so many of that type of vessel. And we were able to kind of do various options as to how that assembly might work. And we came to a particular arrangement, a circular arrangement, and also by elevating it, changing its level in a particular way, you can, by elevating that, drawing sections, you can pretty quickly begin to sort of draw a curving envelope over the top of that. And I think that when that kind of thought process is then interlinked with the response to the landscape, and an instinctive response to try and do something which is sensitive, those two thought processes started to merge, started to come together. But you're obviously aware of the whole kind of canon of work that's been done before, so you can't. It's no such thing as completely new, but you take that influence.
I think also it's fair to say that there's no part of this that is superfluous. There's purpose behind virtually every decision. The hills, whilst they are, you could poetically describe them as being a reference to the landscape, etc., etc.
Yeah.
There is still a real, on the underside of that, there's physics. The hot air rises. We don't want to put too much energy to force it through. We naturally ventilate this because it's very low grade heat actually, so you can't do much with it, which I suspect will be a question. So once you lay the stills out, you get the dome geometry. You look at the way that the air wants to move. You minimise the amount of forced ventilation that you need. And whilst this does create an extremely poetic statement in an area that demands a poetic statement, then, there's more to it than that, if you like. It is actually quite a highly functional space. There's nothing that you would say particularly willful.
No, I mean it is a kind of agro-industrial building still at its core. It's a production space, and we were also keen to. I mean, it's the layering of ideas, I suppose, that start to come together. But we and the client were also keen that the scheme wasn't one. You didn't experience it as one large volume. So I think having the undulating nature of the roof as well. Also, when you internally you experience it as a series of cells. You experience it as a series of very large rooms that you move from one to the other.
Yeah.
And I think that was important as well, just for the drama of the internal space, the lighting that you're able to create from that.
Yes.
And just to break down the scale of it a little bit. Yeah.
And that narrative is very clear in that early sort of process drawing, isn't it? So it's a beautiful embodiment. So do you think the client had a kind of idea in there?
No, I don't think so. Not as far as the actual ultimate form. I think they had a great ambition. That was the key thing. It was a game-changing thing from the Scotch industry. I mean, whether or not we begin to see. It was interesting that there was actually something on the BBC today about a particular investment from Diageo, I think, in Scotch. So whether or not there's going to be a new wave of whiskey experiences which are sort of a bit more elevated in their ambition.
Yeah. Yes.
But certainly Macallan have taken an idea and run with it.
Yeah. Well, it seems a great client.
Great client. Yeah. Couldn't complain really. I mean, they've been a wonderful group of people, nice group of people, lovely geographic part of the world. So I mean, it has been a real privilege.
And a great subject matter.
A great subject matter. Yeah.